So what is this that I want to discuss? Why am I making these recordings? Do you think I pick up the microphone and start to make shit up because I feel like it? Because I want to fuck with your mind? Why am I doing this? Where are we headed with this? I think one of the most important things that you have to remember in this development is that the goal, the objective, the primary motivation, as an ant crawls on my hand, the primary event that we're heading towards here is not for some type of personal transformation, some type of metamorphosis from the world controller induced cocoon that 99.9% of human beings are living in. No. This is not about becoming something else or turning into some other entity. This is in fact about gaining a certain awareness and existence within everything else without being an observer of that something else. It's about enmeshing yourself in what you want to call reality. It's about not being the experiencer anymore of your reality through your observation point, but becoming that point in consciousness where you are no longer on the macro level. You are, in fact, turning into that electron, turning into that point of observation that doesn't require a measurement to be made anymore. I think a good analogy would be that of a pincushion. If you think of your mind, and when I'm using the term loosely, the term mind or the term self, those terms are quite up for debate at this point. Think of your mind as a pincushion, and think of you slowly inserting pins one after the other into that pincushion. Each pin is like a transductor. It's like a... is that a word? Each pin allows you to become further and further entangled in full awareness. And again, historically, awareness has had an implication of self. The very notion of implying the self implies dissociation and implies dismemberment from all those little molecules, all those little particles and subatomic waves that comprise your ability to observe. Now take all those pins out of that pincushion. What is that pincushion now? That pincushion is not an electron anymore. That pincushion is your ego. It's your ego spinning around. One of the most important steps in this development is being able to discern fact from fiction. being able to discern when you are creating a sign that is telling you to walk through the gate, or whether in fact that gate is really there, directing you to walk through the gate. If you're going for a walk and you're approaching an intersection, there's going to be that sign there that's going to have the white flashing man on it. That sign implies to you, go ahead, walk. It's okay, walk. Now you could go through that intersection 1,000 times, but are you actually going through that intersection? Or are you being directed through that intersection because you're being told to walk? Where are you walking to? Why are you walking? Are you gaining that level of awareness where you can identify that the end is not important, where you're walking to is not important? You can travel many different places on a pure consciousness level. When you know that to be a fact and not a fiction, you'll have a much easier time of being able to discern what is fact and what is fiction. There's a lot of fiction out there. Is there a lot of fact? What I'm proposing to you and what I've learned is that it's not up to you to decide what is a fact and what isn't a fact. But there will come a time where you will be able to discern what is a fact and what isn't a fact. Return back to the pincushion analogy. Imagine a polar opposite where the pincushion, which has an infinite number of pins inserted into it at all points. Imagine that to be one polar opposite on the spectrum of awareness. Imagine on the other end of the spectrum is the pincushion without any pins, pure ego, spinning on the macro level. Then imagine that pincushion dissolving into an infinite number of pincushions, with an infinite number of pins stuck into the pincushions. Full awareness. There's going to be times where you have totally become unaware that you have become that spinning ego. It might be accompanied by bouts of fear. It might be accompanied by bouts of anger, bouts of ecstasy, bouts of pride. And on the other end of that spectrum, you are no longer an observation point, observing what is around you. You are now what is around you. There was a time a couple of weeks ago where I was going through some new information, And one of the things that really stuck out for me was this one author was relaying his experience regarding being in contact with allegedly extraterrestrial entities in the flesh, people that looked just like everyone else, just like normal human beings, but